Okay, it's 4 past 4 in France, so let's start. So I am sure that if you are in this call, if you are in this webinar, you have you have felt this feeling that you have created an influence ID and just got only 4 votes because your requirement was very specific. I am also sure that sometimes you have thought, gosh, I just need one button to automate this, but I don't have that button. And most probably, you have thought that all the data is in FSM, but the way to retrieve the data is not so easy. You would like to ease that. Maybe 12 clicks is a bit emphasized, but yes, sometimes you have to click on several clicks. And in fact, this is completely normal because SAP Field Service Management is very powerful. It's a SaaS solution. So with all the advantages of the SaaS solution, you have it very quickly. You don't have to care about bugs, about enhancements, about hosting it. So you can just order your tenant and be live in 3 months. But the downside of it is that, of course, it cannot cover every single use case of every single company out of the box. So this is normal if you had those questions. But luckily for us, FSM was built with extensibility in mind, and this extensibility enabled us to create extensions. And the objective of this webinar is to show you how you can leverage that extensibility, how you can create extension and solve the problems we saw before. So that was an introduction. I will let the hosts present themselves. So Friederike, please go on.
Yeah, thank you, Julien, and thank you for inviting me to this webinar and giving the chance to present a bit about extensions and also to present your knowledge. So I am product marketing manager for SAP Field Service Management. I've been working with the solution from birth, like from 2009 on, when we did the first code lines in different areas, project management, rolling out, doing a lot of demos and workshops, and also as a product manager. So some parts of the extensibility was also done under my product management for business rules and so on. And now I'm in product marketing, so I'm really more focusing on the messaging, the commercialization, and I work very closely together with our product team, management team, to especially bringing out the messaging of features and which customers and markets we want to address. And I'm very happy to be here with Elephantis.
Thanks. As for me, so I am Julien Fiamma-Barré. Together with Antoine, we are 2 of the 3 co-founders of Elephantis. I will be leading this presentation, and Antoine will lead the live coding session that we have a little bit later. It's not the objective of this meeting, but still, if you want to know who we are and what is Elephantis, just a few words. We have created our company beginning of this year in March, after a 7-year experience of deploying FSM in a very big French group, Vinci, not to name it. And throughout this experience, we have rolled out FSM on more than 140 companies, on 5,000 users, and on various countries, mainly in Europe, but also in the US and in New Zealand. So now we have started our company to deploy FSM for other customers and also to develop and build extensions also for other customers. Because when we were at Vinci, all the questions we asked earlier are questions we ask ourselves, and extensions were a great solution to overcome these problems. And that's why we want to share with you how to do that. So our agenda is the following. What are extensions first? How to use them? Then we will go into a live coding session by Antoine. So we are going to develop with you and in real time and on the screen an extension so you can see how it works, what are the capabilities we can leverage. And we think that this is very important, that we are not just going on slides, but also really hands-on, so you can also see how it works. Then we are going to go through real-life examples, so extensions we have developed that are live for some of our customers and available on the directory. And then we have some slide of conclusions and the time to answer to the questions you will have. So let's start with what are extensions, how to use them. So extensions are merely user interface inside of field service management. You can see on the screen the clock here, which is something that has been added. We are going to install this extension right away, just after these slides. So basically, SAP has created standard places where people can develop and insert extensions, and those are user interface. So really, it's something you can show to the user, something new you can show to the user inside standard places delivered by SAP, offered by SAP. These extensions has access to the FSM context. So here I'm showing the user because user is a very important piece of the context. First of all, because you need to be logged with an actual user to access the extension. So you cannot access the extension from outside of SAP Field Service Management, but also because the user has rights and authorizations. Okay, so in everything we are you can develop, the system will check for the authorization of the users and make sure that he's not or she's not seeing anything that he is not allowed to. And on top of the user information, of course, extension grant access to the FSM database. So you can query, have a list of service calls, for example, even create record in the database. So this is something we're going to show you. And it gives a lot of freedom to implement any desired logic. Maybe not everything is possible, but basically you can do a lot of things. Here on the screen, we're showing an approval process. So we have created a button where you can click, and then you have a pop-up to put some remarks, and then another button to approve that, and then the status is changing. So those are actions, UI actions that we can do, and that are interacting with the backend very smoothly. So yes, we tried to put some catch lines for that, and we came with secure, because it's really secure. You have all the security of the FSM application itself. You need to have a login, an actual login. It's clean core because with extension, you're not changing any SAP standard code. It's really using standard features of SAP built for that purpose, and also upgrade ready. So if you have, that FSM has quarterly upgrades, quarterly releases, you don't need to have special non-regression tests for that, because everything is standard, and when there is a new release of FSM, then there is no impact on the extension. And when you install an extension, there is no impact on FSM release and FSM system. So really, this is the definition of the clean core, and tailored to your needs, because basically you can do a lot of things to fit to your business processes. Extensions can be built both for web and mobile. So we have an extension I'm going to talk about later on called Skill Manager. It's an example of extension that is usable on the web, the desktop usage. But also we have developed extensions such as Self-Dispatch, which is more for mobile application. And this we are going to talk in the next webinar. Today we are going to focus on web because for mobile there are some specificities and ideas. So if you want to know more about mobile extensions, make sure to register to our next webinar. We also see two types of extensions. Public extension, this is our wording. Public extension is our extensions that we put on the extension directory. So it's a public store where everyone can publish his extension, and where any customer actually having a FSM license can download and install the extension. So those extensions are addressing a large number of customers. So those are use cases that we think are shared by many customers, and also do not involve user-defined fields or logic that we think are very specific to one client. So one example is Smartphone Manager. We will detail that a little bit later. There is also another type which we call tailored extension. Here, it's an extension that would be built ad hoc for one customer, for one use case, or covering several use cases, but for one customer. And in this case, the extension would not be available on the extension directory because it's fitting one customer. So the objective, yes, is to cover very specific use cases. I don't know, you have user-defined field you use to trigger some automation, that kind of stuff. Very specific to your business would be managed through a tailored extension. One example, today's demo is something we are not going to publish on the store, of course, and is showcasing very particular use cases. So one example of those tailored extension is today's demo. Handing over to you, Frederic.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. So yeah, just from our strategy point of view, so what is an extension? You already explained it very much in very much detail, but also why are we doing this? So SAP or Field Service Management, we believe that it's a great solution, has a lot of features, but we also are aware that customers always have some specific requirements. So we usually can cover maybe 80, 90%. And for some customers, that's fine. They can do compromises, but for many customers, they really need the 100% of their requirements covered. So extensions really is a great way to make this possible. So in almost every deal, we have the question, but how do I do this? It's not on the roadmap. Like, as you mentioned, maybe influence idea and wait 2 years, but it's too long. So really the possibility to have the extension that really helps us to increase also the customer satisfaction and the adoption to have really 100% covered. So how does it work? I think this Julia has already shown, and we will see in more detail. One important thing as well is we want to have here an open ecosystem for extensions. So we prefer if you use BTP, Business Technology Platform, to develop your extensions, but you can actually use any platform of your choice. So it's open. There's just few requirements to be able to embed them, but it can be any kind of technology or platform that you want. And then very important, the extension directory. So this is really for us to show also if we have partners that build these extensions, that we show these to all customers, make it very visible. Every customer will see the extensions of all the partners, and also encourage partners to do their own extensions. And just here, I have 2 links for the help and for the roadmap. Regarding the roadmap, there's not crazy a lot of items on it, but it is a very important thing for us to enhance it. So very recently, we have developed the option to have a change log. So this we see more and more partners are developing really standard extensions, and they're also releasing new versions. So it's important to also see what has changed. So if customers now, they have installed maybe a standard extension and they see there's a new version, they want to see what is the difference. Does it make sense for me to install this extension? What will I get? So this is something that we are encouraging all the partners to implement, to provide this change log. Another thing is that we are working on is as well to provide the option to integrate mobile web containers. So maybe, Julia, I'm not sure if that will be also part of your next webinar, but there are some web containers there in mobile to extend the mobile application already available, but they're not fully managed in the extension factory. So this is something we're enhancing. And also for next year, we want to provide more samples. So our strategy or our vision is really to have many, many partners and also many customers who build their own extensions. So we want to make it as easy as possible for them with examples. We have also code samples available and webinars like this where partners are promoting and explaining how it works. So, and yeah, last but not least, it's also something that we see also in other products, in other cloud products of SAP. Julia mentioned already the clean core, very important to not do any kind of changes inside a cloud application, but still the option to extend it without having dependencies on updates and keeping the core clean is very important in all the products.
Thank you. So now let's have a look at the extension directory, which is the name of the public store, I would say. So maybe you can also do that with me at the same time. Just open your FSM account, FSM environment. You can see that there is one tile called Foundational Services. This is the one that we're going to go to. And there, in extensions, you will see directory. This is where you land, coming on this page. So here, you will see all the extensions that have been published on this extension directory. You can filter by provider, for example. Let's filter on Elephantis. You can filter with a search bar, and you can see for each extension, an explanation about that. This is an extension from TeamViewer, for example. What are the features of this extension? Sometimes some screenshots and so on. And let's have a look at a sample demo extension called Station Clock. This is a demo from SAP Product Management to show how it works. So you can see in the extension information, you can see who is the publisher, websites, description of the feature, and so on. Some information about support and pricing when applicable, and the extension changelog. So it was a new item on the roadmap, where you can see for each version of the extension what was changed exactly. So if you want to go ahead and use it, you have to click on install here. You will have a small installation wizard, tick box to agree on sharing data. This is an important part because this is where you can decide where to put your extension. Usually it's been designed for one place. So in this case, it's the planning and dispatching sidebar. So there is only one option. I will tick that and finish. And there I go. Extension is active and installed on my company ID. So now let's try it out. I go to planning and dispatching because the extension, and I can see this already in the sidebar. So it has appeared directly here. If I click here on an activity, I have the detail of the activity as classically displayed on FSM, but I see the station clock is at the bottom right. So basically, it's as easy as this. You just have to go to click on install to follow some steps, and directly the extension is already present. Then you can enjoy it. So here it's just displaying a clock. So we are just testing that the installation is okay. But then you could, if there was some option or button or things like that, you could use it. You could use them right away. Coming back to the presentation. So now we know how to install an extension. So let's create our own extension, and I will hand over to Antoine for the live coding session. So I will stop sharing my screen. Right.
And now you should be able to see my screen. To confirm,
Yes.
Julian? Great. Okay, Julian, thank you for the introduction. Let's dive into the most exciting part of today, which is the live coding of our first extension together. Just a disclaimer, live coding could be a harsh exercise. We are not hosting this extension on a production server. It's currently hosted on my computer, so sometimes the connection can be weak. So if we have any issues, we have a plan B with some videos, but let's hope everything's gonna be okay and we are able to do the full coding with you. So basically what we are going to do is start with a blank canvas, an HTML page, completely blank, and a simple text, which is hello world. This extension will be installed inside FSM activity. This is really important because later on we would like to consume data from that activity. So this extension will start with a simple hello world text. Then we will try to use the FSM shell. So we will use what is called the context. So we will try to retrieve the user, the current logged on user, and his username. And you will see that all of this happens without any kind of logging in user and password. We are just using the session where the user is currently logged in. So that's getting some data about your session, but we want as well to interact with this data. So in order to do that, we will have an action button that will let us change the language of the current user session. So we will change the language from English to German. So that's only using FSM data for now. What we want to showcase after that is using the internet, so calling external APIs. So for this demo, we will do a weather forecast. So basically, we will try to gather and get the activity location. So first, we will query FSM to get the current activity location, and then query weatherapi.com to retrieve the forecast on the next 5 days on that location. Show this forecast on the table, and maybe we can think about a use case where this activity has to be done outside. So we need to do this only when it's not raining. So I need to plan this activity on a day where there's no rain. So we will have a feature to replan the activity on a day with no rain. Later on, we will try to use AI because everyone loves AI. So we are going to use Mistral API, which is another ChatGPT. And what we will try to do is coming from a raw text that has been entered by a customer call center, we will try to transform that into a to-do list, more actionable items for my end technicians. And since we are in FSM, we are going to leverage these to-do lists and as a bonus, create a checklist, a dynamic smart forms based on that result that AI provided me. So it's quite an agenda for this 20 minutes demo. I will start by showing the code of the first few things, and then I will stop sharing the code because it gets a bit more complex, but we will try to do as much as possible in live for you to see exactly what's happening. So first of all, let's look at my blank page, my blank HTML page. Right now, it's a simple title, webinar demo extension. And then I have a simple text, hello world. So as I said, this extension is not on the public store. It's currently hosted on my computer. So I need to get a URL to connect my FSM account to my computer. So this is the URL I'm going to use right here. And if I open my FSM session, as Julian explained, go to the foundational services. And this time I won't use the extension directory, but go into the installed one. I will add an extension, enter my URL, and just click on next. And as you can see, FSM is retrieving the name of my extension, the description, provider, and I can just, with the simple wizard, install. So it's a matter of 4 simple clicks, and then I click on finish, and there we go. The webinar demo extension has been installed on my system. Very simple. So now let's go back to my planning and dispatching board. And let's use one activity, for instance, an activity that is planned for myself tomorrow, Wednesday, October 29th. And let's open the details. I should now be able to see a new tab right here, which is Webinar Demo, which is the extension I just developed. So if I click on that tab, I should load the extension. And as you remember, there was a title and a simple text, Webinar Demo extension, and hello world. It's a real HTML page, very simple, nothing on it, 2 simple text. So now let's try to get a bit more fancy. So what we want to do is showing the username, the name of the user that is currently logged in, right? So right now we have hello world. Let's go back to my code and let's change world with the username. So this is a simple function that gets the username of the session. And in case it fails, it will return user instead. Just save the code, come back to FSM. And as you can see, the extension refreshed. And now I'm able to see hello Antoine. Antoine has been retrieved because the user that is currently logged into FSM is Antoine, right? As you can see, the language of the session currently is English. So we will try to do the button to change the language. So let's go back to the extension and let's go back to the code. I will add a simple button like this. So it's a very simple button that calls a function that is change language. And I'm going to change the language in Dutch, so German. I save, go back to my extension. And as you can see now, I have my text and a new button appeared, change language to DE. So if I click on that button, you will see that my whole session is now in German. So I see Aktivität on top, Schließen here, and on top I can see the Sprache is German. So not only I got data from the current user's information, but I'm able as well to interact with the session and, for instance, change the language. Let's go back to English for the next part. So what we want to show now is the weather forecast retrieval. So starting from now, I won't be able to share the code anymore because it gets really more complex and I don't want to bother you with that. But basically what we want to achieve is retrieve the current activity location. Then thanks to this location, call the API and then show this forecast on a table. So if I go back to my FSM dispatching board, I click on that activity, I can see the details and let's have a look where this activity is supposed to happen. So it's supposed to happen in Reims, which is a city in France, right here. So let's open the webinar demo and let's see what changed. So now, as you can see, I have a 5-day weather forecast for Reims, the name of the city. And I'm able to see the next 5 days forecast. I see the temperature, precipitation, conditions. And as I explained, this activity is supposed to happen outside. So going there tomorrow will be pretty harsh because there's 86% chance of precipitation, which is not great for my technicians. So maybe I would like to go on Thursday, because the rain precipitation is 0%. So let's click on that button, replan for the day, and that should call the standard API standard API to replan the activity. I have the success here. I see on the screen that now it's showing that it is planned on Thursday. And if I go back to my planning board, I see that this activity has been replanned and released for the next day. So Thursday, October 30th. Just to show you, this is really depending on the activity. So if I take this activity, which is supposed to take place this time in Rome, when I open my extension webinar demo, you'll see that the weather forecast will change to, actually it's not Rome, it's Vatican City, but you get the point, right? So this is dynamic based on the activity that you open. That's really depending on the context of the activity. Let's go back to the presentation. Next thing we wanted to show you is calling AI, so calling a LLM to reformulate a text that has been entered, for instance, by a back office on the customer call center. So that's something that happens a lot. Let's open my activity and let's see what has been entered by the back office. So right here, I see the remarks for my technician. The customer called because there is an issue on the heater. It needs maintenance this week. They suspect a software issue. So maybe we ask the technician to check the version and update. They want them to check as well the system calibration, and they remind them that the contracts end in 6 months. So maybe offer a renewal deal. So let's open the extension again. And now on the right screen, you can see Mistral AI Assistant. You can see the activity remarks that we just show you. So it's retrieving these remarks from the activity database. And we are able to call the AI process and reformat this text. So right now, that's what the AI said. So it's making a customer issue recap. So the heater only works every other day. It requires a maintenance this week. We have suspected causes, which was the software issue, maybe do a system calibration, some additional notes about the contract that expires in 6 months. And then really important, we have the actions to take. So the AI created this list of 4 actions that my technician will be able to do. So inspect the heater and diagnose intermittent operation, check and update for software version, verify and recalibrate the system settings if necessary. Let's remove that because I know it's not the issue. And it says that I can discuss contract renewal with the customer. Let's add that we can offer a 20% off deal. And maybe add a last action, which is to, I don't know, maybe ask for customer signature. From now on, I'm able to save this reformatted text and save it on the activity remarks. But something really cool will be to convert that into a checklist. So I will click on this button. And now, as you can see, checklist success. We have on my activity ready for my technician on the smartphone part, a new to-do list, a new to-do checklist that contains exactly what has been entered by AI, what has been given by AI with my corrections. So we have the inspect heater and diagnose intermittent operation, the software version, the contract renewal deal with the 20% off, and ask for the customer signature. And this is a dynamic checklist. So this is something that will appear on the technician's phone. And same, if I go back to my activity itself, remember this was the original text. If I refresh my activity, now I should see exactly what AI gave me, rephrase for that text. So that's all for the demo today. Last thing we wanted to explain is architecture of today. It's important to understand how everything works. So first, in the center, in the middle, you have your web browser with your FSM session. So that's the client, FSM web. On the left side, you have our server, so Elephantis server, which hosts the source code. This is in the public extension. The source code is hosted on our server, but if we develop custom extension, that can be as well hosted on your server. And what is important to understand is that the code is loaded into your client, your FSM web browser, and from that moment, nothing is exchanged anymore. So everything happens inside the customer web client. No data are exchanged between our server and your system. So then you have the different database, for instance, the FSM database, but as well some APIs, whether API or Mistral AI. And then the extension is just communicate via REST API requests between all of these systems. And today we wanted to showcase and demo like fancy thing going to whether API or Mistral AI, but I'm sure the vast majority of extension can only be exchanges between FSM and FSM database, so you don't even have to call other external services. So the data really stays between your web browser and the FSM database. So privacy is really important at Elephantis, and we wanted to explain that no data is shared with us on our server. Nothing is stored, no exchanges are done. And that's it for today's demo. I'll let you take over from now, Julian.
Yes, thank you, Antoine. So let's proceed. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So yes, Antoine showed some, showcased some functionality that we can do, and in particular calling external applications. Let's have a look at real life examples. So those are, all right. Those are extensions that we have delivered for our customers. Attachment Manager, Smartphone Manager, and Skill Manager. They are on the extension directory, so you can go ahead and test it for yourselves. The first one is called Attachment Manager. The objective of this extension is to, for back office agent or team leaders, sometimes you can have the need to have a look at the photographs and the attachments that have been taken by or produced by the technician on the field. And in fact, one of the pain points is that you can have attachments located at service call level. You could have attachment located at activity level, and you can have several activities under the same service call. And you can have attachment located in checklists inside of activity, and you can have multiple checklists for the same activity. So here what we have built is really a tab you can see at service call level that is going to look for attachments that have been created under the service call. So at the service call level itself, but also at activity levels under that service call and at checklist level. So this is what we call the multi-level retrieval, and this is one of the main feature that we develop for that. Another feature is to categorize attachments, because sometimes, especially if you are using customer portal, or if you plan to send some document to the customer even by email, sometimes some attachments you don't want to share. So here we have the possibility to categorize those attachments. This is something we have built for that. And then you can mass download. So with one click, download all the attachments on your laptop, and also preview attachment immediately. So yes, you don't have to download each attachment to see how they look like. You can preview them directly from that screen. I think this is what we see on the demo. Yes, see, he clicks and then we can see the preview. So that way, team leaders, back office agent can have a look at all the attachments, validate that everything is right, and then go to the next service call. Another extension we have is Smartphone Manager. So it's a little bit the same idea, but that's that time for smartphone or checklists. So team leaders sometimes have to have a look at what the service technicians have produced as checklist or as smartphone. For example, for a customer in France, they wanted to have a look because technicians were doing, sometimes they were using acronyms, or they were using sometimes they misspelled some word, or sometimes they even use wrong French or incorrect French language. And they wanted that all this would be sorted out before sending the smartphone and the checklist to the customer. So here it's a new screen actually, where you can see all the checklist instances. You can filter per template, per responsible, per status. You can preview the content. You can approve. And you can also reopen a checklist. So if a technician closed the checklist, but there was an issue on it, you can reopen it from that screen, modify what you have to modify, and then approve it. So you have this approval workflow enabled for your checklist. And the last one we have created is called Skill Manager. You know that in FSM you can create skills, you can assign skills to technician, you can give them proficiencies or time frame, validity period. But there is no screen where you can see an overview of all your screens, of your skills, and all your technicians. So this is basically what we have built. At the top, you can see all the skills for your company. At the left, you can see all the technicians. You can filter by name, you can filter by region, you can filter by manager or by job description. And then at the intersection technician skills, you would see if the technician has the skill. If there is a validity period, the tool will emphasize on the one that are expired or the one that are coming to expire. So you can act on that proactively. And also you can attach document, especially certificates or proof of the skill. So that sometimes technician, when he arrives at the customer site, the customer is asking for the permit or the certificate. So if you attach that to FSM, then we can imagine that this attachment is sent to the mobile application of the technician, and he can show it to the client. So those are examples. You can see that those are not with AI or with external system. It's really a new user interface, new actions with only data from FSM. And those are practical examples that you can use, that are used in production at our clients, and that you can use also right away. So some slides of conclusion, and then we can go to the question and answers. So as a reminder, what are extensions? They are basically a user interface inside of FSM, accessing to the context of FSM, so user information, but also the backend, the data, and all the FSM database, and where you can have the freedom to develop more or less what you want in terms of features, approval, creation of new service call, replanning, everything that SAP provides with a standard API. So it's secure, it's respecting the clean core, and it is tailored to your business. Some examples of when to consider FSM extensions. If the feature you want is not on the SAP product roadmap, so it's not there because it's too specific. It's the famous example of 4 votes. Then you can consider an extension to replace that. Sometimes SAP would deliver the feature, but maybe at a later stage, and you have operation running, you have your project with your timelines. So sometimes an extension can also be considered for a lightweight temporary solution. So you can use the extension during the time in which SAP is is delivering the feature, and when the feature is delivered, then you can just remove the extension. Then sometimes what we often see is that if the feature is not delivered, then you could think of having something, a workarounds in the ERP involving integration with FSM, because if you build something in the ERP, most probably you will have to work on the integration as well for that new feature. So yeah, here again, if you are thinking of doing this, maybe an FSM extension could be a good way to avoid that. Same thing if for a feature you want to use a third-party solution, another tool. Where on top of the integration, you will have also to explain to your user that they have to change tool, that they have to log in again, and that the user interface is not exactly the same, which can reduce the adoption of the solution. So here again, maybe an FSM extension can be considered. And generally speaking, innovative solutions, because it's not only about features that you need now and that is not available or not yet available, but it also about how you can leverage the web, the internet, to make your processes more innovative. We have seen the example of AI. Of course, SAP is also developing innovative solutions, but you can also do it on your own through extensions. So by now, I think you understood that I like catch lines. So the two final ones are these ones. FSM delivers value very fast and keeps evolving, but extension make it tailored to your business and make FSM faster to adapt. If you're interested in learning more, two things. First of all, of course, contact us. These are my contact details. If you have an idea of extension, if you want to test something, if you think that some of your business process needs an enhancement, you can contact us, and we'll be very pleased to see how we can support. And also, we have our next webinar session about mobile extension. So if you want to register to this one, please scan this QR code. We will put that at the end, at the final slide as well. But yes, register to that QR code, and we will make sure we send you the next webinar registration link. And now, do we have questions? Oh. One question: can extension be added in any part of FSM? So SAP has specific places where you can add extensions. Honestly, there are a lot of them. I think, I mean, there is an official document on that. Maybe we can send that to you. And I think there are like, I can't remember in my head, but maybe 20 places where you can add extensions. So yes, you cannot add extension anywhere, but there are a lot of possibilities. Great demo, thanks. Can we call our own LLM? Yes, of course. We have created, I mean, the demo we did was with an external LLM, Mistral AI. But of course, if you have at your company an LLM hosted in your servers and you have APIs to call them, of course, I mean, it's possible to, instead of calling the external service, you can call your own LLM. So yes, sure, we can consider that. What are the main limitations of FSM extensions? What could not be done with extensions? There are some places in FSM where you cannot insert an extension. So depending on your requirement, maybe it's not possible to put an extension at this moment. Also, there are things like, for example, the smart form part. It's product developed by SAP where there is no place to do extensions. So I don't know if you want something very specific about smart form. I don't know what comes into my mind, but it's not always possible to extend smart forms. Yes, it's a very open question. So we would have to see case by case if what you need is possible with an extension. Can we use extensions to retrieve information for S/4HANA? Yes, technically yes. I think we did one to retrieve the contract. So S/4HANA team have provided an API to retrieve a list of contracts, and we added that in the service call. So because it was a use case where each service call needs to be attached to a service contract, and instead of synchronizing all the contracts to FSM, we just created a field where the user could filter directly from S/4HANA. So yes, technically it's possible. Then it's always a question of overall company enterprise architecture, and yes, needs to be reviewed with architects, but technically speaking, it is possible. I think that is all. I don't know if new questions have appeared. I'll have a look. Any help documentation available for the people who are very new to FSM extensions? You have the official SAP website documentation, help.com, where honestly there is a lot of detailed information about that. I don't have the link here, but I don't know if Valentine or Antoine, you have the link available.
I will share it with you.
Okay. Yes, so the SAP help on that topic is very good. So would be a nice idea to start by that.